Okay? So that was 9 plus our parenthesis, 52nd term, minus 1, close the parentheses off. And I'm multiplying that by the common difference, -8. When I press enter, it gives me -399. I look up here and say, oh, good, there's my answer. I want to point something out here. Look at the wrong answers. This is one common difference of -8 off. This is a common difference of -8 off. Okay, very easy to get either of these if you're going enter, 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 enter. If you go off by 1, your wrong answer is up there. So just also be familiar with the equation here, please. Number 23. It's almost a throwback question, but it's because it's leading into our next section of the test. Okay, identify the function family. This is clearly an exponential function. Linears are straight lines. It's a terrible straight line. Our quadratics are the U-shaped or upside down U-shaped graph. And it's been a while, but a constant graph is a horizontal line. Okay, constantly the same number. So this one is our elbow. Exponential means elbow. Hop into number 24. If you deposit $4,000 in an account paying 9% annual interest compounded semi-annually, write the compound interest formula in respect to the amount earned given the amount of time. Whew, boy. That's a lot of words, a lot of questions, but we have to tackle these problems the same way we always have. List out your information and figure out what is what. A, P, R, N, T. And then I'm looking at the options and I realize, oh, we don't know A. None of the options have A in them. Oh, we don't know T. None of the options have T in them. So we must know these other things. That's just test-taking skills, guys. Test-taking skills, all right? So we look for P. P is an initial investment, an initial investment amount. And this says you deposit $4,000 into the account. That means our P should be 4,000. I look, check, check. Oh man, we didn't eliminate anything. It's because that's the easiest part, okay? Next, 9% interest. Great. But we look down here and see all these crazy decimals in there for the rate. That's because we are in percent land. And we have to go over to decimal land by making 2 hops to the left. This is 9%, meaning the decimal is right there. We go 2 hops over to the left and fill in with a 0. So we're looking for a rate of 0.09, 0.09. That means this one is out. This one is out. This one is still in, and this one is still in. So it must come down to this letter N, which is semi-annually. N is always found by looking for those key words. Annually, not annual, annually, semi-annually, daily, monthly, those sort of things, okay? Semi-annually means N should be 2. So that means our denominator needs to be 2, and the number up top needs to be 2. There we go. If you get confused over what that formula should look like, it is on the formula sheet. Please use it. And we continue with our exponentials down here with number 25. 25 is where we start doing something we did on the exponential test, which is we're going to use the same equation for a lot of these. So I might as well go ahead and graph it and have it to look at, even if I don't need it on this first one. 2 times 5 raised to the x power. That's what makes it exponential, is that raised to an x power. 2 times 5 raised to the x power, and then down at the bottom, a -7, and we hit graph. And it says identify the horizontal asymptote. That means the horizontal line that we're never, ever going to cross, okay? 2 ways to find it. 1, by looking at the graph and using your best judgment, or 2, by looking at the equation. We know in years past that number out at the very end is about the y-intercept all the time, but now it means something different, exponentials. It means the y value that we will never cross. So in this case, our horizontal asymptote, which is always an equation, look out for that. Horizontal asymptote is y equals -7. Next, it asks for the range, and this is very similar to the horizontal asymptote. It has to do with it. The range means what are the possible y values of our blue graph up here? Well, here's your asymptote where it's leveling off right here. And so I've always been telling people, ask yourself, is my entire rest of my graph going to be above that horizontal line or below that horizontal line? We can see the rest of the graph is above it. What symbol do we use for above? Greater than. What does this say? This says all of our y values will be above 7. And that makes sense because as we can see, here's my entire graph, and here's that horizontal line it can't cross. So if it can't cross that, everything has to be up here above it. Okay? Everything has to be up there above it. Everything has to be greater than that asymptote. Number 27, identify the interval of increasing, decreasing. We just look at the graph. This one is going uphill, and it's going to always be going uphill. So it needs to be increasing from negative infinity to positive infinity. Guys, don't let these distract you. We have to deal with stuff like that when we get to quadratics, but not yet. It's just basically asking you an increase-decrease question. Please do not get fooled on that. Speaking of getting fooled, oh boy. Second topic, first one being literal equations, this one being in behavior. Second topic that just eats us up, okay? We have a tough time with it. It's a hard topic, all right? One thing I will have everyone notice, these setups are always the same. That's not where we're going to trick you, okay? And these setups mean this is the left end and this is the right end. I taught this several different ways. I had some people that took a walk on the graph. They started in the middle, took a walk, okay? That means you said, all right, I'm going to start right here in the middle of the graph. As I walk to the left, what's happening? As I walk to the right, what's happening? Okay? But one of the ways we finally kind of broke this down is we realized there's only 3 answers here. Okay? There's only 3 answers. One of them is negative infinity, one's positive infinity, and one is the asymptote, which in this case was negative 7. So those are the only 3 answers we're going to have for exponentials. Okay? Only 3 answers. Now I just got to figure out which 2 I need and which side they're going to. Well, being that it's an exponential, it has to have an asymptote. The left side is where we are leveling off, meaning our left side should be going to the asymptote of negative 7. So I'm looking for anything that has to be a negative 7 up here. This one is not. This one's out. Negative 7, good. Negative infinity, nope. Negative 7, it's in the wrong spot, but let's just double check to make sure the right side agrees with us. So we think that it's supposed to be B. So the one that had a negative 7 for the left side, the left end behavior. But what about the right end? Well, the right end is going up, and it's going as high up as it possibly can, meaning the right end should be positive infinity. So in this case, we didn't use the negative infinity. We will always use the asymptote on these. Then you have to just decide which infinity it's going to.